Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is of course going to be another episode of my championship score predictions, and I'm looking forward to getting into this week's fixtures, guys. Unfortunately for us, next week we do have an international break coming up, so we're going to have to make the most of this championship weekend. But looking over some of the fixtures we've got coming up, it should be a good one. So as always, guys, all of this weekend's fixtures will be listed in the description down below. Then you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. So make sure you do get your comments in the comments down below, and if you do successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, I will of course include your comment at the start of the next video. So like I said, we got some decent games coming up this weekend, so I'm looking forward to getting into this one. And as well as that, if your team was playing in midweek, let me know down below how they got on. You know, we had some pretty mental games going on in midweek, of course. The pick of the bunch had to be QPR, who went away to Aston Villa and picked up that 3-1 away victory. QPR fans, I'm sure you guys will be buzzing with that, but Villa, do you think that now puts an end to your automatic promotion hopes, of course, with both Wolves and Cardiff winning in midweek? It wasn't brilliant for Villa. So if you do go into enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like, guys, but apart from that, let's jump into some score predictions. So our first game to go ahead and talk about does actually involve QPR. This is the early kickoff on Saturday, which sees Fulham going up against QPR. Now, if QPR are able to carry on that consistent performance which they showed at Aston Villa, we could see a really feisty game in this one, actually, of course. Fulham currently on the best run in the championship, really. They are now unbeaten in their last 15 matches, and their home form at Craven Cottage, you know, is something to be really admired at the moment. Mitrovic is on a hot scoring form at the moment, so is Ryan Sessegnon as well. So for QPR to nullify this Fulham side, it's not going to be easy for them, of course. With QPR playing in midweek as well and Fulham not, you'd maybe think that this Fulham team would be a bit more fresh, but you know, it's got a bit of a derby feel about this one, and on a derby day, you never really know what to anticipate from it. And if anyone's going to put an end to Fulham's current just ridiculous run of form at the moment, it could be QPR. You know, they've gone ahead and won their last 2 games. They're unbeaten in their last 3, and if they can show a similar performance than they did at Aston Villa, who knows what could happen in this one. But just for the sheer fact of how good Fulham have been, I've got to be backing them. So I'm going to back Fulham for a 2-1 home victory, whereas FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 QPR. And talking about another side who's currently on a fantastic unbeaten run in the championship, that is of course Millwall, who this week are going away to Barnsley, of course. Barnsley were in action in midweek. They went ahead and drew 1-1 with Norwich. I thought Barnsley maybe a bit disappointed with that, actually, you know, considering that they did have the limelight of the chances in that game and they took the lead in that game as well. To lose it in the later stages of it was a bit of a disappointment for them. You know, there is seeming to be a bit of a gap forming from the bottom 4 of the championship. Barnsley, of course, they need to be capitalising on their home matches from now until the end of the season, but with how efficient Millwall have been recently, it's not going to be an easy one. And with Barnsley they do seem to be quite wasteful still, of course. They do have that added impetus going forward now of McBurney, who gives them a different dynamic, but even so, they still tend to waste quite a few chances, and with how good Millwall's defence is, I think Barnsley may be frustrated for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and back a 2-1 away victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 0-0. Our next game then sees Birmingham going up against Hull, and Hull at the moment have just really seemed to turn a corner in the championship. Currently now, they are now 9 points away from the relegation zone, and they've been in a real hot form of scoring goals at the moment. So going up against this Birmingham side who just looks so devoid of confidence, you've got to be fancying Hull for another victory in this one, of course. Gary Monk recently coming into Birmingham, not quite had the instant impact that Birmingham fans will have been hoping from him, of course. We have, in fairness to Gary Monk, we have seen an improvement in the performances from Birmingham. That's not been translated into points yet, and going up against a side who's high-flying in form at the moment, like a side like Hull, who are scoring a lot of goals, Birmingham, I just have the feeling that they may have the backs against the walls instantly in this one. So Gary Monk needs to find the formula to get the best out of these Birmingham players, needs to shore them up at the back and just get a bit more confidence flowing going forward. But with how good Hull have looked going forward lately and that added impetus they've now got with Abel Hernandez back from injury, for this one I'm going to go ahead and back a 2-0 away victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 2-1 Birmingham. The next game sees Brentford going up against Middlesbrough, and this could be a game which could define Brentford's season. You know, at the moment I'd say they are probably the side that's lowest in the championship, who still has an outside chance of going ahead and sneaking into the playoffs come the end of the season. I believe they're about 8 points or so behind Middlesbrough at this point in time, so if they are able to go ahead and get a victory in this game, who knows what could happen. You know, we have seen crazier things happen position in the Championship. But Brentford, of course, they were in action in midweek. They went ahead and lost 3-1 to Cardiff. I didn't think that they played awfully in that game. You know, they had a couple of defensive errors which let them down, but a couple of decisions did go against them as well in that game, it has to be said. Going up against Middlesbrough, though, they have been very efficient with their performances recently. They've gone ahead and won their last 3 games now, and under Tony Pulis, you know, Middlesbrough do seem to be one of the form sides in the top 6 at the moment in the Championship. Adama Traore has been ripping teams apart lately. Patrick Bamford's in a great goal-scoring form. I'm just going to back a 2-1 away victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0 Brentford. The next game sees Bristol City going up against Ipswich Town. So currently in that part of the table, from about 5th to around about 10th, there's not really that many points in it. So a game like this for Bristol City is going to be massive for them in their season. You know, they're going to have to be going ahead and picking up 3 points in this one and bouncing back from a couple of poor performances they've had recently, of course. They lost to Preston, drew to Burton, so this is a good opportunity for them to go ahead and get back to winning ways, of course. Ipswich recently definitely not in a good run of form, you know. I believe their attendance in midweek is one of the lowest they've had in years. The hostility around the club at the moment and towards Mick McCarthy from the fans definitely isn't a good thing, and this is a sort of game where you feel like Mick McCarthy will look to take the sting out of it. Bristol City's attack, though, I just feel like they'll have too much for Ipswich, who don't seem to be playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. So for this game, I'm going to fancy Bristol City for a 2-0 home victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0. And speaking about teams who aren't in a great run of form at the moment, the same can be said for both Leeds United and Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, they are still in need of a couple more victories this season to go ahead and ensure their survival in the Championship. I don't think they will go down, but they're currently located at just 8 points above the relegation zone. And when you look over their form from the last 10 or so games in the Championship, they don't look like they're going to be picking up many more points from now until the end of the season. Getting away to Leeds, though, it's not a bad time to be playing Leeds at the moment. They've not won now in their last 3 games in the Championship. Paul Heckingbottom, you feel like he's got quite a bit to do over the summer if he is going to turn this Leeds squad into challengers for promotion next year. You know, there's still quite a bit of work to be done defensively, especially. I think that they need to have a big summer transfer window, both clubs really, if they are going to be pushing up the Championship next year. But in terms of this game, with both teams not really playing with too much confidence at the moment, I actually see this one heading towards a draw, so I'm going to go ahead and back this one to finish as a 1-1, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0 Leeds. And another team who is still in fear of relegation slightly, we do have Reading, who go away to Norwich this week. Neither side is in great form at the moment, but especially Reading at the moment, you know, this whole season has just been a mess for them, you know, realistically. Of course, they went ahead and lost in midweek to Wolves. Wasn't a great showing from them at all, you know. You can't really expect to be getting much going away to Wolves, but the level of performances from Reading over the last probably 2 or 3 months has really hit rock bottom, and they need to pull their finger out from now until the end of the season, or who knows what could happen. Going away to Norwich, it's a bit of a funny side, Norwich, this season, you know. At home especially, they've gone ahead and drawn a lot of games, being one of the lowest scoring sides at home this season, I believe, you know. The amount of nil-nils which I've seen Norwich get at home is pretty unprecedented, so this game, I've got that impression this could take a similar format, actually. Both teams this season have looked to take on quite a rigid style of football, you know. We've not seen much attacking creativity in the final third, apart from the odd player here or there, you know. You're looking at the individual talent there of James Maddison or someone like that, but for this game, I'm going to fancy it to finish as a ball draw. I'm going to back this to finish as a 0-0, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-0 Norwich. The next game sees Sheffield United going up against Nottingham Forest. So currently these two sides actually boast the least draws in the Championship, so both of them tend to be sort of an all or nothing side, and of course with Sheffield United currently sat just 2 points off Middlesbrough in 6th place in the Championship, Sheffield United need to keep this momentum up. Of course, they went ahead and picked up a pretty comfortable 2-0 home victory against Burton in midweek, and going up against this Nottingham Forest side, it's not going to be an easy one. You know, Aita Karanka has seemed to turn a corner with Forest lately. He's got them playing some decent football and has made them a pretty hard side to beat with some more attacking flair going forward, but even so, with Sheffield United having that bit more to play for from now until the end of the season, I'm just going to fancy the home side for a 2-1 home victory, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 0-0. Then we do see Sunderland going up against my club Preston North End in what could be a pretty big game for both of our seasons, of course. Preston went ahead and lost last week for a last-minute winner from Mitrovic for Fulham, which was so annoying, but even so, Preston need to be going ahead and bouncing back in this game week, really, to keep our playoff chances alive. But I'm not anticipating expecting it to be the easiest of games against Sunderland, you know. Currently Preston, we don't have the best record against the bottom 6, and we tend to struggle against sides who do sit quite deep, you know. We can't really break them down every now and again, but considering we have the added dynamic now of Shawnee Maguire coming back into the side, I'd hope that we got rid of that from our game now and we'd be better going into these sort of games, of course. Sunderland, they're currently 5 points off safety in the Championship, and we're just not really seeing many signs of improvements from Sunderland. So for that reason, I'm going to back Preston for a 3-1 away victory. I hope I'm not being too cocky going into that one, but I'm going to back us for a 3-1. FIFA same, it'll be a 0-0. The next game sees Wolves going up against Burton Albion. So Wolves have had a pretty hectic week, you know, in the last 7 days or so. Last weekend they went ahead and lost 4-1 to Aston Villa. Then in midweek they picked up a very comfortable 3-0 home victory against Reading, and then saw Villa lose that week as well. So it's been a really topsy-turvy one for them. The only negative coming out of that Reading game was that Jota actually picked up an ankle injury. I saw a picture of his ankle after the game and it didn't look too good, so he'll be missing for this game. But the one thing you'd say about Wolves is you get rid of an option like Jota, but they have so much more quality to go ahead and come into the side, you know. If Burton are able to get rid of that threat for this game, you've still got players like Helder Costa, Bonatini, Cavallero, Afobe and Neves as well. So Wolves just have a plethora of talent at the squad at the moment. And Burton Albion, they're a funny side, you know. Of course they weren't brilliant in midweek against Sheffield United. They seemed to put in a pretty efficient performance in that one. The game they had before that though, last weekend against Bristol City, they did actually show a bit more attacking intent, and maybe if they can solidify at the back and get someone like Darren Bent or Dyer scoring for them, who knows what could happen for them. But overall I do see it being quite a comfortable home victory, so I'm going to go ahead and back Wolves for the 2-0. And then as the evening kickoff on Saturday, we've then got Bolton Wanderers going up against Aston Villa. So Aston Villa fans, I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts of what you thought of the last week in the comments down below. It's been a very hectic one for Villa fans, that's for sure. And going away to Bolton, it's not going to be an easy game, you know, realistically, of course. Bolton currently sat 6 points above the relegation zone. Recently, their form's not been too bad. If you look over their last 5 games, they've only gone ahead and won 1 of them, but 3 of them have been draws. At home this season, they have made themselves quite a hard team to beat. You know, they are a side that likes to drop quite deep, and late goals have been a thing which has been popping up lately for Bolton as well. So with Aston Villa, what went wrong in midweek? That squad just looked tired from the Wolves game, really, and I expect Steve Bruce to make a couple of changes going into this one, get a few more fresh legs coming into it. But if they're not completely at it, you can see Bolton nullifying some of their forward threats for this one. But overall, with Villa's quality and some of the squad depth that they do have available, I am going to back them to bounce back with the 2-1 away victory, whereas FIFA saying it'll just be 1-0 Villa. And then as our last game to go ahead and predict, we have the Sunday kickoff going on between Derby County and Cardiff City. So of course, the form side going into this one is without a doubt Cardiff. Currently now in the Championship, they've gone ahead and won their last 8 games, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And we saw them score some pretty good goals in midweek as well. That one from Sol Bamba was an absolute screamer against Brentford, and they'll be hoping to continue this efficiency against Derby County, who recently, you know, they do need to pick up their form a little bit, you know. Derby, of course, they were quite frustrated in their last game. Of course, it was a 0-0 draw with local rivals Nottingham Forest. Some of their attacking flair, Derby, has seemed to dry up lately over the last few weeks, and with that Cardiff defence being pretty impenetrable this season, it's not going to be an easy game for them to be hitting top form again. For this game, I am fancying Cardiff, so I'm going to back them for the 2-1 away victory. I could see quite a few goals being scored in this one, but I'm going to fancy for Cardiff for the 2-1. FIFA same, it'll be 1-0 Cardiff. So guys, there you have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of my Championship score predictions. So do you agree with my predictions, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.